Started. So we shall begin this session for interpretation of indeterminate forms, about which you were asked to think during the lunch break. Since most of you are eating for living only and not living to eat, I am sure that everybody, most of you, had given a deep thought to the theme provided to you. Then it would have been more advisable if some group discussion would have been arranged to further, what we can say, proliferate or publicize, we can say, individuals' thoughts on these issues. But because of scarcity of time, even though it was more appropriate, that cannot be practiced. Rather than that, what we shall do, I will try to present before you a theme, and then you will have, earlier was preview what you did, wherein I did not have specified what exactly the thing means, but indeterminate forms being always a matter of curiosity, you were just asked to prepare on those issues. So it was a preview at your end. Actually, every lecture should take place in this manner, but it may not be possible every time. So after this preview, I will present the view. Based on this view, you will again rethink on entire spectrum, and that will be a review. And then we can have the review-based group discussions on this weekend. Hopefully, almost all of you would be available in the campus for some other reason in this weekend. Let us try to maximally utilize the time. And since all the things are being recorded, even though few genuine absentees may not matter us, and they may view it later on. So, this indeterminate forms can be viewed from different ends. Even though I had delivered a similar lecture around 3 years back when you were not student of this college, and that time this facility of recording was not practiced by us. That means that even though it is not a new theme on which I am delivering a lecture, but every time the difference between live lecture and the recorded lecture is that even though the theme is same, the person is same, the actual contents may differ depending upon the issues which crop up in his mind at that point of time. So, to begin the lecture is difficult because of either two reasons. Either one may be in a situation not to, what we can say, retrieve what is to be taught. Means he is not prepared to deliver and trying to somehow retrieve and compile. That may be one case. And there may be, there are two types of personalities. One is who do not think at all, and one who do think too much. And both kinds of personalities are not useful for the society. So a confusion for a teacher will be there either if he is not prepared or if he is over prepared, in the sense that because of multiple levels of thinking, he is unable to define the starting point, because he feels, see, in a circular case, you can't point a starting point, because one says this is the starting point, but one may argue, no, it can also be a starting point. So then the best decision is a random decision, because when by all kinds of thought thoughts, you find everything is equally bad. When you are suppose if you are before this now at your times it was through counseling, I think. No, it was through choice. But when the choice of the college is through counseling, you come before a screen and multiple options are there, and you find that all are equally bad. When all are equally bad, how to decide? Is choosing random by random. Okay, just shut your eyes, rotate your hand and point. Have a laser point in your hand. Shut your eyes, rotate your hand and put it whatever point it goes, you can choose the course. So that way we will start now. I would like to ask you a few questions. Those who feel that they are smart can answer. First question: whether infinity is unique? No. You got the question? Whether infinity is unique?
No.
Obviously, everybody has answered no. It's non-unique. So infinity is non-unique. Then the further question: whether zero is unique?
Yes.
Yes. So everybody again answered in an undoubted manner that zero is unique. Infinity is non-unique. Even though you were exposed to the theme, you were not exposed to this question. So your answer cannot be said to be a tutored answer in either way. You were not knowing the question a priori before coming to the lecture. So your response is natural response. And there is inconsistency in the answers. Infinity is being considered as non-unique. Okay, then if infinity is non-unique, then what is 1 upon infinity?
Zero.
How can then it's a what we can say? Just like an open and shut case, we can close the chapter. If infinity is not unique, then 1 upon infinity everybody says to be zero. How it can be unique? But we have to look at the mindset of the students who answered. Infinity means there was almost an unanimity amongst you that everybody thought infinity is non-unique and almost everybody thought zero is unique. That is because of the way we are brought up. We have learned zero in our childhood and we are following a pseudo understanding about zero. Means zero, since we are exposed to it from our childhood, we get a perception of understanding about zero even though it is not understood. It is called a pseudo understanding. Whereas we are exposed to the theme of infinity in the adolescence age, wherein we have started to think on what is being told to us. And because of that, we start feeling that something is not understandable. During childhood, we feel that we can understand everything. After some time, we start to question something. And if we find that we are getting the answer, then we say, okay, now it's not that we can understand everything, but I am superior and sharp enough to understand the things. That is self-conviction. But then sometimes we find that even though in oral examination or in theory examination we say that, oh, I have understood very well the concept of infinity, but for ourselves we admit that we have not understood it. So nobody is feeling that he has not understood zero and he has understood infinity. Means almost everybody feels that he has understood zero, which he has not. And he also feels that he has not understood infinity, and which is a fact. So there is an illusion and there is a fact. Illusion is understanding of zero. when it is not understood. And the fact is non-understanding of infinity, and whereas it is the fact, it has not been understood. So again it leads from what is zero? Absence or a symbol zero. It's definitely not symbol. It's absence of something is called as zero. Then a natural number, whole number, integer, real number, a rational number, and a two-dimensional number, a complex number. There are many things. So zero is absence of anything is called as zero. Have you ever heard zero as an additive identity?
Yes.
Those who might have read something of abstract algebra or something which is in the symbols in some language which is usually not understood, and it's a privilege of a select club of students who feel that they understand. Identity. Have you heard this? Additive identity means anything a plus 0 is a. So adding 0 doesn't change the quantity. So 0 is called as additive identity. Then I would like to ask a further question. Suppose that we start, like now no more such experimentation is allowed unless we are having again some kind of cruel eccentric rulers like Hitler or Stalin. That Hitler or Stalin give the orders that the way in which the primary education in mathematics is taking place must be revamped. And it is to be revamped. That revamping is not like relative grading, absolute grading or learner-centric approach, but that is a strategic revamping. Strategic revamping states that you should change the order of teaching in the class. That in arithmetic there are operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. That Hitler or some person like Stalin order commands that from tomorrow onwards multiplication should be taught first. What will be your impact? What will be your assessment of the situation? Addition is to be stopped, not to be taught. First teach multiplication. Will it survive?
No.
Yes or no?
No. No.
It will not survive? Why? Why it will not survive? Multiplication is depends on addition. Or multiplication is what? Defined as
It comes from
successive addition.
successive addition.
All of us carry impression which, even though cannot be certified to be perfect, cannot be ridiculed to be wrong also to some extent. Listen me very carefully. Everybody of us is carrying an impression that multiplication is successive addition. This impression, even though cannot be certified to be perfect one, it cannot be ridiculed to be wrong also at prima facie. Whether multiplication can be defined as an independent operation than addition?
No.
Can we live in the world of numbers where integers are absent? A world of non-integers only, where only 0, then unity needs to be defined, and that's all. 0, 1 and x are the three numbers. X can be any number. 0, 1 and x, that's all. Can we live in such world? Can we learn mathematics without arithmetic? So can you define multiplication without addition? Multiplication is successive addition is valid only when we are having multiplier as an integer. When multiply is a non-integer, it is no more valid. So this requires unlearning. We must unlearn that multiplication is successive addition. Multiplication can be a successive addition, but we have to define it independently. Without knowing addition, one should be able to multiply. And can he do that? Yes, he can do that. Multiplication is scaling. Multiplication is scaling. Then we may not travel from one world to the other world abruptly. If we try to travel abruptly, we may not be able to maintain the comfort. So if you are working in AC room, then there are intermediate chambers in which you come for some time and then go out. So we may enter into a world where integers are there but addition is not defined. How would we define multiplication then? Or as regards to multiplication domain, one is defined as multiplicative identity. Is it correct?
Yes.
One is defined as multiplicative identity. So addition is one. Then multiplication is next. And indexing is the third. A raised to B. A raised to B is A into A into A, 1 into A into A into A for B times. But it can be defined independently. A into B is 0 plus A for B times. But it can also be defined independently. So 0 is additive identity. 1 is multiplicative identity. 0 is additive identity. 1 is multiplicative identity. Then zero is, now I make a statement. I hope that you are now better exposed to understand it without explaining. 0 is multiplicative nullity. Do you agree? 0 is multiplicative nullity.
Yes.
0 is additive identity, 1 is multiplicative identity, and 0 is multiplicative nullity. Then the question is whether, it's a very significant question, whether 0 as an additive identity and 0 as a multiplicative nullity are one and the same. And the answer is they are not same. 0, we feel that 0 is unique because we are exposed to 0 from the concept of addition first. So we are having a, what we can say, there are some things which can be said to be as if hardwired to your brain. It's very difficult to remove that. And no teacher or tutor should try to remove such dead hard concepts beyond a limit. Any attempt to remove such dead hard, what we can say, dead hard concepts beyond a limit may lead to disorder. So our answer that 0 as an additive identity to be unique is agreeable, but then whether infinity is achievable,
No. Yes.
then
Infinity पण असेल. त्याच्यात 10
what is a very rude definition of infinity? Very rude definition of infinity.
something
We just means it need not be scientific, but it is to be expressed in such a way that everybody will understand what one means. So how infinity can be defined?
1/0. 1/0.
Oh, he says 1/0. Means now, huh?
3/0. 1/0 म्हणजे 3/0.
2 weeks back, there was some signature campaign of learning of German language.
Yeah.
Then all of you have registered. Most of you have registered. And tomorrow, if it is a circular is put, yes, that the course is to begin from this and this date, and the German language will be taught in French medium. Obviously, it's of no use for us. He is defining infinity as 1/0. It's just like an attempt to learn German via French medium. So we don't know French either. So to explain infinity, take help of something which we are not aware of is of no use. So let's have redefinition of infinity. We can have very broad definition. It need not be scientific. It should convey the theme. Who can say? How will you specify infinity? Anybody from you? I think yeah.
Rightmost point on a number line.
Rightmost point. Not a bad attempt. I think he is more enthusiastic. What you can say? Huh? No idea. What about you? No idea. You do not have any idea about infinity. Then what you are doing for last 4 years?
infinity बघ
Then do you?
or I is equal to 0.
Then do you know infinity as horizontal only? Now my question is,
I plus 1.
do you carry any other perception of infinity than horizontal 8? If yes, what that is? What do you feel about infinity? Rightmost is somewhat a good attempt, but we need not go on number line directly. Infinity.
Sir, just imagine a motorcycle.
What?
Just imagine a motorcycle which is driving at infinite speed. It is unimaginable.
So,
Infinite.
oh, infinite is something unimaginable. It's not a good bad attempt. Okay. I think in your school days, even primary school days, when two of you were discussing salaries of your parents, then one said, no, my parents' salary is very large. How much large? Then one may say 2,000, 2 lakhs. Then one may say like what are the icons of big thing? It is he brings the salary in a bag which is big like a dinosaur. Then one says no, it is bigger than this. Like that. So what is the infinity theme? Uncountable. That is again a different issue. There are two types of infinities. Countable, countable infinity and uncountable infinity. Integers are infinite in number. These are
Countable.
countable infinite. Whereas number of points on a number line are uncountable infinite points. Okay, anyway. So it is bigger than any big number you specify. Infinity is very broadly defined as what it is. It is bigger, means what it says, that two children say that, yeah, my father is more than what is yours. Yours may be big, but I might say more than that. One more than that. Just like in childish thing they talk about. So infinity is a number which is bigger than any big number that anybody may specify. Is bigger than a big number which anybody may specify. So if that is so, then I would like to ask you how you will be defining 0 in the same way. How will you be defining it?
Center point on the graph.
It is smaller than any small number you may specify.
Any small positive number you can
Let's give an example. 0 is absence of, to be very precise, to give impression of uniqueness of 0, absence of anything is 0. Now, suppose you are given a stick of some finite length and you are asked that cut this stick into small pieces such that length of each piece is 0. Is it possible? Because if you decide to divide it into equal parts, then the length will be 1 upon p, where p is number of parts. Where p is number of parts. Let us, we are in the domain where we define integers. Then you will be making p very large. As you make p very large, the size of each part will become very small. You can make p larger than any large number, length will become smaller than any small. And suppose if there is another stick having a length double than the original stick, double also we are using because we are in the world of integers. Then if both you decide to divide into p parts, what will happen? And as p tends to infinity, length of part will be approaching 0. Length of the part of the other stick will also approach to 0. But the length of the other part would be double than the first part of the first stick. So both are zeros, but one is double than the other. So 0 into infinity can be what? 0 or infinity or finite.
0.
It can be either 0 into infinity can be either. It can be either 0 or any finite number or an infinite number also. It depends upon the strength of 0 and infinity. Suppose if x tends to 0, what will be x square? It will also tend to 0. Then tending of x square towards 0 is more strong than x. that we can say x square into x as x tends to infinity. Sorry, x square into 1 upon x. X square into 1 upon x as we can say x tends to 0. So x square will be tending to 0. 1 upon x will be tending to infinity. The product, if we take, the product will be x itself. It will tend to 0. 2x into 1 upon x. As x tends to 0, 2x is 0, we can say, and 1 upon x is infinity. In that case, 0 to infinity would be 2. So, I hope that it is just one viewpoint which I am presenting, on which you are supposed to think further, that 0 as a multiplicative nullity is non-unique. 0, when we go for multiplication operation, when we go for multiplication, means as a multiplier, when we talk of a multiplier 0, that multiplier 0 must have arisen from, some quantity divided into equal infinite parts. That is only valid multiplier. If you take 0 itself as an additive nullity, in that case that becomes a different story, because in such case then, if 0 into infinity we talked about, if we follow 0 as successive addition, what 0 to infinity should result into? 0. If 0 is unique and we take it to be additive identity, in that case 0 plus 0 plus 0, whatever number of times you may do, you will end up in 0 only. So that is not. So 0 in multiplication operation is a number which has been arrived at from an operation of dividing something into equal number of parts with number of parts approaching infinity. So that is what we can say a non-unique entity. 0 is a non-unique entity. Infinity is also a non-unique entity. Then product of 0 into infinity is a product of two non-unique entities. And when it is a product of two non-unique entities, obviously it cannot be said to be a fixed product. It will depend upon, means when I am writing 0 in multiplication, when I am writing infinity, I am not sure of exact value of it. When I am writing infinity, I am not sure of exact value of it. Same is my perception when I am writing 0. Same is my perception, or same must be my perception when I am writing 0. As regards to multiplication operation. So, both being non-unique, non-certain, and non-certain, what must happen? Their product is also undefined, indeterminate. The product is indeterminate. Then, a further question. K into infinity, where K is a finite number, is what?
Infinity.
Is it unique? No. But it is not said to be indeterminate, because it is infinite, that we know. when we say it is infinite, there itself we are agreeing that it is non-unique. So we do not say to be indeterminate. Determining something to be infinite, even though it is not a complete solution in uniqueness, it gives us the idea about the answer, we can say in very brief words. So k into 0 where k is finite is 0. Again, non-unique, but we don't say indeterminate. K upon 0 where k is finite is infinity, which we say again non-unique, but we don't say indeterminate. K upon infinity where k is again finite is 0. But 0 into infinity or 0 upon 0 or infinity upon infinity, these things are indeterminate. Indeterminate because these we do not know from what source these variables are emerged. Infinity is always bigger than biggest, but to what extent? If a equal to infinity, then 2 into a is also infinity. Both are bigger than the biggest, but 2 into a is always double than a. They maintain a relationship. Same is the case with 0. So, as regards to multiplication operation, everybody must be aware that multiplying by 0 is multiplying by something which is not known exactly. Multiplying by infinity is multiplying by something which is not known exactly. Same is the process with division. And since both are not known to their exactness, their answer can be anything depending upon from what source this variable arises, from what source this variable has arisen. And it may lead either to 0 or to infinity or to any finite number. And therefore it is called as indeterminate forms. 0 into infinity, infinity upon infinity, 0 upon 0 and infinity to 0. All these are called as indeterminate forms. Then, as a corollary to this discussion, can you perform graphical multiplication? Can you perform graphical multiplication? If yes, how? Suppose if you are given a number line on which unit is given to you. There is some number A, there is some number B. Then how you will define AB? Just try to listen. AB is B units on such number line whose one unit is equal to A of the original number. AB is B units on such number line whose unity equals to A units of original number line. So again, if you are after this lecture, you are supposed to think continuously, only except those who are self-driving, and also they are supposed to think for graphical multiplication, which we will consider in due course. I hope that understanding of non-uniqueness of 0. So what is the title of this lecture, we can say? The title can be said to be non-uniqueness of 0 and dealing with indeterminate forms. I suppose that if ever you are sensible, if ever you think to some extent at intellectual level, then the discussion must have shaken you a bit. that will place you in a better way. Understanding of zero, understanding of infinity, these things are abstract. This is my understanding of zero is not something which can be printed on a paper. Yes, this is my understanding of zero. Just like some images like benzene, the dream thought something and say yes, like this. So understanding is not something which can be, whose blueprint can be taken. Yes, this is the ideal understanding of zero. It cannot be said so. So the task is very much difficult because since understanding is not blueprint which can be shown to the students, no PPT will help. So I try to explain to you something which is highly abstract with the help of all possible ways. I am trying to communicate, expecting that you should have a similar or better understanding of zero, about its non-uniqueness and indeterminate forms. But the problem is that what is your understanding cannot be seen by me because it cannot be also blueprinted. But there are some ways by which it can be indirectly tested. And from such testings, I can estimate how close you are to the expected understanding level of non-uniqueness of zero and dealing of indeterminate forms. I hope that it is something which it is said that learning must be from within. The teacher and the entire Google and the entire world can facilitate the learning, but learning must be from within. The perception is an entity which must emerge from within. A perception cannot be imposed. You may be trained to have a better perception, but ultimately it is for you to perceive. I hope I have tried my level best. I think that I have tried to teach. To what extent you have learned remains inconclusive, at least at this point of stage. So let us see that in days, weeks, months and years and many lives to come, it comes true.
Look at it.